Hey, Nighthawks!
We're academic coaches at UNG,
and we spend our days in coaching conversations,
talking all about your success in college,
the tough moments, the little wins,
understanding your strengths and the skills you need to thrive.
We're here to share real coaching moments,
offer you practical strategies,
and simple steps that you can apply today.
We believe you have what it takes to succeed at UNG,
and we're cheering you on every step of the way.
This is Nighthawk Coach Talk. Hey y'all, welcome back to Nighthawk Coach Talk. I am your host, Hannah England, and I'm here with two amazing ladies. We have Dr. Crystal Edenfield, Director of FYE. Hey, Crystal.
Hey.
And we also have someone you know, Marin, and she is one of our peer coaches on the Dahlonega campus. And so we're just really excited today to dive into a topic that so many students face. I know that when you come into college, you're excited, but you're also super nervous. And those first couple weeks are really hard to find where you belong. And is this the right fit? And did I make a mistake? You know, those are all the thoughts running through students' heads. So we're going to talk about sense of belonging and how important that is in college. So to kick us off, what does it mean to belong, or what is sense of belonging?
First of all, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. I think belonging is about community. It's about feeling safe. It's about finding your people and finding your place. And I think that college students, with that transition from high school to college, everything is new. Your classes are new. Your schedule is new. Your new routine is new. Your friends are new. And so sometimes it can be hard to find your space and find your people. But I think it's super important that students feel like they belong. It's going to help them transition from first to second year and beyond. And we're here to help students feel like they belong.
Yeah. And I guess from a student perspective, I know I talked about this before, but I think you really start feeling like you belong when you stop comparing yourself and your experience to others, or what you could be doing, or, you know, potential other things, places you could have gone. And when you really just feel like you fit in and you're happy there, and you stop really comparing yourself all the time to other things you could have done.
Yeah. So when we say we want a student to belong at UNG, what does that mean?
I want the student to feel like this is home. I want them to embrace the traditions, the history of our campus and all 5 campuses, whether that's one in their backyard or they've actually moved and they're living on campus like in Dahlonega. I want them to have their community. I want them to feel okay asking for help, and I want them to feel supported. So if students can feel supported and they find somebody that knows their name, they find their people, their community, that's really what I hope for a sense of belonging for a student at UNG.
Awesome. Why do you think that's hard for either first year students or seasoned college students?
I think UNG specifically can be a little bit challenging for some people because it is very split, commuter, also on campus. Some people live here, some people commute here. And I think it's hard to find a sense of community if you're not here all the time, or you have kind of like a sense of FOMO, and all those things that come with that. So I do think it can be a little bit difficult because of that, and just being scared to go outside of your comfort zone in general as a college student. It's such a time of lots of different experiences and being in the unknown and things like that. So just being kind of scared to go outside of your comfort zone and meet new people and go into the unfamiliar, for sure.
I think also students are super excited when they first get here. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of adrenaline, especially those first few weeks. We have weeks of welcome, which are activities and events every single day designed for students to transition, a low stress way to kind of meet new people. And then after that newness wears off, it's like, oh yeah, I'm really here. I'm doing this. I'm either away from home or I'm trying to balance home and go to school. And there might be an element of homesickness. There might be an element of regret. There might be some times where students are wishing they were with their friends or their significant other or family members. And so sometimes I just feel like students are experiencing that newness and it's starting to wear off, and then reality sets in, and that's when it can become hard.
So what I'm hearing is this is a normal.
Yes, it's very normal, and even normal for adults. We don't grow out of this. There's something called imposter syndrome where you can feel like you don't belong, especially for first year or first generation college students. And so I think normalizing just the feeling that you don't belong or that something's awkward, something's uncomfortable, and just embracing that change will help for sure.
Marin, you said you've experienced this, and I'm sure a lot of your friends have as well. What are some of those common points that most people start to feel a little bit disconnected or not like they belong?
Just kind of like how we were talking about, it's definitely, I think that newness wears off. I think when you're like a senior in high school, you are ready to be away from home and you're ready to go do new things. And you get here, and maybe you have a lot of friends from high school that come here. But after a couple of weeks, it is kind of like, oh, I see my friends from high school at different schools doing different things, and maybe they're having a better time than I'm having. Maybe they fit in more than how I feel I fit in right now. So I do feel like it's a little bit of a curve of like, you start off kind of high and you feel happy and you're excited to be here, and then it kind of slowly kind of dips down a little bit until eventually you do meet people and you find your community and you find friends and you get involved in your classes, and then it starts to go back up. And then I feel like once you kind of go up, there might be a couple of dips down, maybe you're in between organizations or you're feeling overwhelmed or something like that. But overall, I think it stays pretty consistent. Once you find that feeling of belonging, you kind of can go back to it. But definitely, I'd say after the first couple of weeks, it can dip down, and some people struggle to find it to get back up there, and maybe this isn't where they belong, and maybe they do belong somewhere else and they can find it there. But I think you really just have to look for and try to feel that first before you just kind of leave.
So not to get too research heavy, but what you're describing is called the W curve. And it's this high point of the newness, coming to college, trying something new, that low point of homesickness. Maybe you get your first grade and you did really well, and so you're like high again with some midterm grades of A's and B's. Then you might go back down again at Thanksgiving break, returning home for the first time, and hopefully you swing back up. But that is in the literature called the W curve. So you described it perfectly.
How interesting. That is so true. Like you think about, like, a lot of times, I know, especially as a freshman, I got here and it was a little bit low and then it got high, but then I would go home for a weekend or I would go home for break, and then you come back and it automatically goes back down. Like it's definitely up and down. And now being a upcoming senior, that's crazy. It's pretty much always high for me. I mean, obviously there's some smaller, shorter like dips, I guess, but it's a higher up than I guess it was when I started.
Okay.
I love that. Bringing in the research.
Yeah, that's so cool.
So we've talked about a few ways to kind of help with that sense of belonging. But Crystal, how does the first year experience specifically help students feel like they belong?
So the most common way that students are going to identify the first year experience initiative is the course UNG 1101, which is called Flight Training, Thriving at UNG. And we're not going to be studying planes. It's not an Air Force course, but we do have our mascot, Nigel, who's a Nighthawk. And so a lot of things on campus surround flying and birds and that kind of thing. But that course is required for freshmen starting fall 26. So if you're a freshman, if you're a first-time student with under 30 credit hours and you're watching or listening to this, you're probably in that class or you have it on your schedule. And really that class is all about teaching you how to be a college student, whether it's time management, study skills, having awkward conversations and making friends, learning how to write a proper email to a professor or talk to a professor in and outside the classroom. We're really trying to help you find your purpose and set you up for success here at UNG. So that's kind of the first year experience commitment to our freshmen.
Awesome. What are some of those other ways that students might start to feel that sense of belonging to UNG?
I think that students can get involved. They can go to an event. They can join a club or an organization. They can participate in tutoring and academic coaching. There's lots of different ways that students can find their people. An easy way is go to your professor's office hours. Those are hours that professors have to have their doors open for conversations and answering questions. And so I think if you introduce yourself to your professor in the classroom, outside the classroom, interact with them, they start to learn your name, and that's going to give you a confidence that you may not have had before.
Yeah, for sure. I would also agree with that. And just, you feel that sense of belonging when you get to know your staff, your faculty, and your students all together, because we're all here at the same time doing lots of the same things. And so it kind of starts to feel like your own little community when you see them, at Walmart, or you see them at the gym or something like that. It definitely starts to feel more like home, especially if you have students who are in multiple of your classes, or they're in your future classes. You're like, hey, I know you because we had that class together 2 semesters ago or whatever. So definitely students and staff, and just kind of making it a community.
Yeah. Lauren, you said you're kind of on that high of sense of belonging right now, just little dips. And I know you were extremely involved on campus. So what are some of those key things that helped you feel most connected?
I would say my number one thing is just get out of your comfort zone, because I am not the kind of person to do that right off the bat. I kind of have to be encouraged. And luckily I have parents who are very encouraging of that and getting out of your comfort zone. So my philosophy was kind of just say yes to everything. If someone asks you to go to the dining hall, go to the dining hall with them. If someone asks you to go to a club meeting, go to it. If you're thinking about going to something, just do it, because you really don't have anything to lose by going. Obviously, when it comes to time management, things like that, you kind of have to work that balance out. But at least right off the bat, try to meet as many people as you can. Try to talk to the people in your classes, have those awkward conversations with them. Especially at UNG, we have those smaller class sizes, and we have a lot of the rooms are set up discussion style. So you have to talk to the people at your table, which is really nice. And so you get to meet people that way and kind of see them on campus. So my philosophy was really just say yes, get out of your comfort zone, because then you start knowing more people, and it makes it easier to keep saying yes to things because you know someone else who's doing it. So just kind of be okay with being uncomfortable.
Absolutely. I think saying yes is really important. Even as an adult, I think sometimes I'm oh no, I'm too busy to go to lunch with a colleague, or I'm too busy to go to this event, or that someone's inviting me to. And just saying yes builds that connection. And if it's a terrible time, you have a fun story out of it. Exactly. So you literally have nothing to lose. So I love that advice. Say yes. So what other advice would you give to a student who is I'm not sure if UNG is the place for me?
I think that some students may feel that, and that's a natural feeling, especially your first semester or two when you go to college, because everything is so new and uncertain. But I would really say stick it out for at least a semester, your first year here, and try new things. Get out of your comfort zone. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because anywhere new may be uncomfortable. So if you decide to transfer, which we wouldn't want you to do, but if you do that and try to find another place for you, it might be just as uncomfortable there because it's new there too. What was the question again?
Just any advice you would give to students.
Any advice. So another piece of advice would be just to get involved. Try one new thing that you've never done before, whether that's an activity, an event. We have things like service dogs on campus in the library during study times, or a petting zoo will come to campus every once in a while. We just had capybara yoga here in Dahlonega.
I'm so jealous. I missed it.
I know. So that's an awesome way to just come out, look at the animals. I always tell students that going to college is kind of like going back to preschool. There's lots of arts and crafts. There's lots of free food, little mini field trips or things that are coming on campus, big events like an amusement park or like spring fling, Night Out Fest.
Yes,
Yes, thank you. big events like Spring Fling or Nighthawk Fest on campus. So there is something for everyone. And I would just encourage students to try one new thing, and that could help them feel more like they belong, more like they have a community here, and stepping out of that comfort zone is super important.
Yeah. And I think that sometimes if you're on a commuter campus like Oconee or Cumming or Gainesville or Blue Ridge, you might think, oh my gosh, all the fun things are in Dahlonega, but that's actually not true. Even so like Oconee is the place that I don't go all the time, but they do Stuff a Critter all the time, or like Stuff a Study Buddy. So you get like a little stuffed animal and you get to actually like build him yourself, him, her. And they do like every campus has their thing, and they do so many cute little things or big things. Zuconi, they're top of mind right now.
Yeah, Blue Ridge.
Coney.
Blue Ridge has like bocce ball that they're really obsessed with.
That's a really big thing.
They have pickleball courts. They have a tomato sandwich fundraiser, so that's like super popular up there. So each campus has its own culture, subculture. We're all one UNG, but each campus has its own things to offer. And you are a UNG student, so you can go to the different campuses if something's exciting and you want to try that. You can always travel to other campuses if you want to.
I love that you mentioned that. Yeah, you can absolutely transition, or not transition. You can transition, but go to different campuses and try out different events, and you might meet someone you never thought you would.
Well, yeah, and that's one thing I think that's great about UNG is so much of the stuff you can go to is free. Like we always emphasize that on tours and stuff, because you can go to athletic games for free, like basketball games, and you can go to like all of the concerts that we have out here are free. So like seriously, you have nothing to lose. Like not even money. Like go. So
I love that. I am all about some free food, free t-shirts. You will find me there. Free stuffed animal.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've given so much advice during this episode. But what is like one small takeaway or one small step that you would tell students to start with?
I would say talk to someone next to you. That would be a small step in the classroom, in your dining hall facility, where you're studying at, in the library. Just talk to somebody who's next to you. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be uncomfortable. But you may end up making your next best friend or a study buddy. So just talk to somebody, and that's going to make a world of a difference.
Yeah, I would say, and this might not be for every student because some students I know live like too far away to go home a lot, but I would say stay up here for as long as you can. I know a lot of freshmen come up here and they start going home every weekend, and I think that can kind of disrupt like any relationships you're building if you can't do anything on the weekends. And it's not to say you can't ever go home. Like obviously go home when you want to go home, but if you can, try to stick it out a little bit, because it is a community effort. And so if there's more people on campus, there's more of a chance to build that community and to meet more people. So try to stick it out and stay up here for as long as you can, be up here a couple weekends, and just do some fun stuff that way.
I think also something that y'all have kind of hit on over and over is that comparison or the fear of like, did I make the right decision? And I just want to let y'all know my advice would be like, give yourself grace, be kind to yourself. Like you are learning something new. You're in a whole new world, a whole new people. And it is really easy to look at someone else on Instagram and be like, oh my gosh, they are having so much fun. They must feel like they belong on their campus, like all the time. And we're pretty much all feeling the same way when we go step into a new place. So be kind to yourself. Know that this is normal. It's a part of life. You'll feel uncomfortable every time you start a new job or you move houses or, anything like that. So just be kind to yourself, recognize that this is normal, and then take those small steps towards making it different. Any last words for our listeners?
I would just say we're here for you. We're willing and ready and able to help you. We just need to know that you need help. So if you're at the point where you're homesick, let somebody know and we can connect you with resources. If you feel like there's not a club out there for you, you can actually start your own club. You just need a couple other people who are interested in the same thing. If you have ideas for events on campus, Nighthawks Entertainment or SGA are going to be great resources to share those with. And we're just always here to help you. So don't be afraid to ask for help.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all so much for tuning in to this episode of Nighthawk Coach Talk, and we will see you next time.
Bye.